I am Batman, otherwise known as mild-mannered Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop. I flew in straight from the Batcave. Hope you enjoyed a look at my main domicile. People have more fun than anybody. Anyway, I'm going to make another short video today, but first it's Tech Tip Tuesday, so take a look at this. My friends, welcome to the first edition of Tech Tip Tuesday. I'm going to show you a tech tip that I taught myself. I don't think anyone showed this to me, so I'm going to say I thought this up on my own. Now, there may be somebody out there that's already doing this, and that's fine if there is, but I haven't ever seen anybody show this way to fix the threads on a bolt. Now, here's a fine thread 5/16 inch bolt. Got fine threads, meaning that there's more threads per inch than your average bolt. And here's a nut, and you can see it threads on perfectly fine. No problem at all. But what happens is sometimes you need to cut one of these bolts off because it's too long for one reason or another. And when you cut off the thread end of a bolt, then the nut often won't thread back on it. One of the ways that people do it, and I've seen many people do this, is that they'll thread the nut on ahead of time, like this, then saw off the bolt, and then unthread it, and then they can thread it back on. But that leaves a jagged edge, and it's not my favorite method. I mean, it works. I've done it myself. It works. I'm going to show you my favorite method and my preferred method, totally different than that. So we're going to cut this off, and we're going to mess up the end of it on purpose. So here we go. I'm purposely going to use a crude method of cutting this off so that it'll do more damage to it. I'm not trying to take it easy, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to fix these threads. So here's just a big old Sawzall, and it's got fairly rough teeth here, so it's not going to take it easy on this bolt. Okay, so you can see the end is clearly boogered up. It's even gotten a mark there where the saw skipped, and then this edge here is really bad. You know, just to prove it, this is not going to thread on there. There's not a chance on the planet that this is going to thread on there. Now, there's some ways you could fix this fairly quickly with just a file and things like that, but I'm going to show you a much better method. In fact, I'm not done boogering this up yet. I'm going to make it worse. Let's just show you how bad we can make this and still make it work perfectly. So let's just do this. Let's put this in the vise, and then let's really hammer the point home. So what am I going to do? I'm actually going to hammer the point, and I'm going to mess up these threads even worse. Now, I'm not saying this is part of the method. I'm actually making the threads worse on purpose. This is just for dramatic effect, if you will. This is not part of the fix. Okay, so I really messed up the end of that bolt now. There's no way that on the very best day you could ever get that to thread on. It would never work. Not a chance. at all. I'm trying to show it to you here to let you see how bad it is. It's terrible. But it's very, very easy to fix that. Let me show you. I've mentioned before that I've started using a grinder when I was only in the 4th grade, and I've been using one pretty much constantly ever since. I always have a grinder. Now this is a large grinder. This is a 10-inch bench grinder. These wheels are 10 inches. Your average bench grinder is 6 inches. I also have a couple of other grinders, and this will work on any grinder, on any wheel. It doesn't matter really. But even a small grinder that you could put in a drill, just like a cordless drill with one of those little grinding wheels, this technique will work even with that. It's very good technique, and it's very simple. What is the technique? All you got to do is you take the head of the bolt, point it up, straight up. The end that's all messed up is pointed straight down, and you walk up to your wheel, and while the wheel is spinning, you just spin this in your hands like this. So I'm just twisting it. You can't get a good shot of that, but I'm just twisting it like that. So that's all you have to do. Let's just show you how simple it is. If the end is really messed up, you might touch the end also, just a little bit. And this end is kind of messed up because I wasn't playing too easy with it. So we'll just do this a couple more times. Now, I'm almost positive the nut will thread right on there without any trouble at all. Just by doing that little bit right there. I did have to stop the video. I had to go get the nut. I forgot the nut. But anyway, I promise you, I haven't done anything more to it than what you just saw. All right, so now I just put it on there and start screwing it on. And it just goes right on, no problem. And you can see that it went on all the way. I did kind of mess up the threads a little further down the bolt also, but that's a different issue. But you can see that technique works so simple. I mean, it's the easiest technique in the world to fix any bolt that has the threads messed up on the end. And it doesn't matter how big the bolt is or small it is. It can be a very tiny screw with very tiny threads, and you can do the exact same thing. The trick is that the grinder is pulling down on the end of the bolt. The grinder has to be pulling down on the end as you spin it, and you just try to, spin it rough, fairly evenly. You don't want to grind one side and not grind the other. You want to spin it and try to get a reasonably even grind. It doesn't have to be perfect though. And then all that does is just pull the threads down and out of the way and allows the nut to screw right on. Like I said, I've been doing this since I was a kid. It's second nature to me. I cut off lots of bolts. Where this is practical in guitar building is on the truss rod. A lot of times when I make a truss rod, I make it too long, so I'll have to cut it off, and I cut it off on the thread end, of course, and then I'll take and do this same technique with the truss rod, holding it straight down like that, pull the threads off. That also puts a nice little bevel right on the end of the bolt, just like a factory bolt.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little tech tip there. It comes in handy for me all the time. Often you can come up on this situation where you've already got bungled up threads. In other words, you didn't even cut the bolt off, but you can't get a nut to screw on there. Well, that method will work with any bolt at any time, anywhere. And like I said, you don't even have to have an expensive grinder. You can just use one of those little cheap grinding wheels on your drill, as long as you're on the down side of the wheel and you hold the bolt like this. So in other words, the wheel's going this way. This is the bolt. The wheel is going this way, and you just turn the bolt until you get it all the way around. And that's all it takes, and it will work. Guaranteed. Another reminder is that if you happen to be watching this and you're in the area, we will be playing tonight at Dickey's Barbecue in Rolla, Missouri. We start around 6:30, and we usually play about 2 hours or so.
And finally, another reminder, May 27th and 28th, we'll be playing the Bluegrass Festival at Melissa's Campground, which is the Liberty Life Campground in St. Robert, Missouri. You can Google that and find it. I'll put a link in the description as well to Liberty Life Campground. And one final thing is that I have gotten off a dead center and got the binding put on the fretboard here, and this is the fretboard for the world's finest mandolin ever built by a human. Of course, those of you who know me know I'm just more or less making fun of that, and it's just a goal. I'm trying to build a really, really fine mandolin. Whether it turns out to be the world's finest mandolin or not, you know, who will know? I mean, I guess I have that chance. I mean, everybody has that chance. At least it's going to be a really fine mandolin, and I'm looking forward to getting it finished, and I'm going to get it finished come heck or high water by the end of this month. So you heard me say it. I'm going to get this thing finished. So it won't be long now. I hope you have a great bat day. We'll see you tomorrow.